So what we're talking about today is the importance of bone marrow transplants and becoming a bone marrow donor and registering for that. We have Staff Sergeant Mark Jenkins, and he's in need of bone marrow donation because of a rare blood transplant. And also with us is Master Sergeant Frankie Gomez, who's a good friend of Jenkins and has kind of taken on the project and become a Department of Defense bone marrow donation representative.
Well, let's start by saying, Staff Sergeant Mark Jenkins, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity and the time.
Well, very nice to have you. And now, tell us about the disorder that you are dealing with and how we got to the place where we need some bone marrow transplant.
I'll try to make it brief. I'm diagnosed with a disease called myelofibrosis, which is a rare form of leukemia. Myelofibrosis means that your bone marrow actually scars and it hardens. Therefore, you have a disparity in the white blood cells, red blood cells, and platelets that you need to live. So with my condition, my platelet count is extremely high, and that caused me to have a transischemic attack back in 2009.
A what?
A TIA, a stroke.
Oh, man.
So I had a stroke picking my daughter up from school, and I knew that I had this problem, went to the doctor, and he says, hey, we've got to really start attacking this. And he told me something very sobering. He says, the only thing that we can do to cure you is to do a bone marrow transplant. I don't want to do that with you unless we absolutely have to, because the procedure can kill you. And I thought, wow.
Okay,
wow.
that's good news.
It was really great news. So I'm sitting there thinking, my God, this is insane. 2011, let's fast forward. I was sent to Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio and was reviewed for my eligibility. And they told me, yes, we could transplant you, and let's start the search. And when we did the search, we found not one person in the United States, and the National Marrow Donor Program matched me.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And so step in,
Master Sergeant
Gomez. Now you are kind of on the hunt and doing bone marrow drives and finding matches.
Well, what happened is, Mark's a really good friend of mine. So when he came to me and told me that there's no match basically in the world, not just the nation, as a military soldier, we're trained to, if it ever came to it on the battlefield, I'm going to risk my life to save yours.
Right.
Well, it kind of changed a little bit here. I'm going to sacrifice my time to potentially save his life. So
God bless you, man. And now, so what are we doing to reach out? And we're obviously talking about it here on the airwaves here as covering a 5-state region, but what are we doing to help find somebody?
Okay, so we have a mutual friend. She's in the Air Guard. She had gotten a hold of the C.W. Bill Young Marrow Donor Center. So I contacted them and told them I want to be the point of contact. So anything in Colorado in the regional area, let me know. And then we've teamed up with Be the Match, who's a partnership with the Bonfils Colorado Marrow Donor Program. And I think we've done since March over a dozen drives, both military and civilian.
Over a dozen drives. And I think if my rolling count in my head, I believe since April, we have combined with the military and Bonfils Blood Center, we've gotten about 1,700 people into the registry.
We need 1,700 more right now.
Exactly.
And so here's what I'd like to do. And it's not difficult to
oh my
get
gosh,
this. Just a swab,
so
isn't it?
It's a cheek swab, correct?
Yes. It is an actual cheek swab. It takes literally 10 seconds per corner of your mouth, so 10, 20, 30 seconds, or 40 seconds, excuse me, to actually swab your cheeks. And
take about 60 seconds for me.
Yeah, well, in the paperwork,
big
the paperwork is the hardest part.
Yeah, the paperwork takes longer.
You have to fill out a bunch of information, but all in all, it's probably a 10-minute process.
And you're doing a marrow drive on July 28th at the Colorado Rapids game?
Yes, we are. It's Military Appreciation Night there, so we've got with Cronky Sports and talked about, so we're going to set up a booth out there. It's going to be at 5 o'clock. Our booth will be set up to do both civilian and military. And then when the game starts at 7, they're going to move us in, and then we'll go from there, and we'll be doing more drives in there also.
All right, so there's one person out there that's the right match for you.
That's the amazing thing. I have no full-blood siblings, so the first people they would look at would be your full-blood siblings. Well, I have none, so they reached out into the registry, the national registry. At the time the first search went through, there were 9.5 million people in the donor registry, not one person.
No.
So then they reached out to the worldwide registry, and I don't know the numbers specifically on how many people worldwide are bone marrow donors, but no one matched me as well. So that was very sobering, extremely sobering.
Yeah, because you finally made the decision, all right, I'm going to go through with it. It is risky. I am a good match. I am a good candidate. This is, now I know this is the right move for me.
Right.
and then to find out there isn't a recipient
Oh, I was
or a
crushed.
match.
I was absolutely crushed.
Absolutely. Staff Sergeant Jenkins, I'm sorry. Tell us, I'm looking at a wedding ring on your finger.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about your personal story. What do you got going on there?
I'm married to the most beautiful woman in the world. She's a social caseworker with the city and county of Denver, and so and I have a 13-year-old daughter. So it was very sobering. Here's my wife who spends all of her career taking care of children and giving, and then she turns around and she sees me and she sees how my health is declining, and then she sees all these drugs I have to take, and then she sees me being frustrated and sometimes crying because I just want to live.
Right.
And she's taken on a great burden. She has been a catalyst on the civilian side. I like to think that I have a management team in a sense. I mean, my wife does all of the civilian stuff with bond fees and setting up bone marrow drives. And then I've got my Army buddy here who continually works on the military side. So we're attacking it from two different areas to see if we can get as many people as we can at the registry.
Here's something I'm gonna offer to you right now on behalf of the Experience Pros. We're gonna find a time in our national segment to maybe not today, but one of these days, and we're gonna re-air this segment because the country needs to hear this,
awesome.
and we need to help as much as possible. You've got so much to live for. You are a giver, obviously. You wear the uniform, and we'll do anything that we can.
And so, if you want to participate by being tested or doing the swab, we can go to the Colorado Rapids game. Is there a website that people can go to donate to?
Well, what you could do, there's actually a few websites. If you're like a DOD or you're a dependent of a DOD or a civil service employee, you could go to
Department of Defense, right?
Department of Defense. That's www.dodmarrow.org, or you could contact bond fees themselves at www.bondfees.org. And that bond fees is BONFILS, or Be the Match at www.marrow.org. Or with the new era, we set up a Facebook page for Mark. So you can go to www.facebook.com/soldierneedsmarrow.
And what about if they want to put together a drive? If a company or an organization wants to organize a drive themselves,
they can contact Bonfils Blood Center. Our contacts there will definitely get them all the information they need to do a civilian drive. If you're military and you're out there in the state of Colorado and you want to do a drive at your unit or in your installation, that's where you need to contact Master Sergeant Gomez, and he'll definitely square you away.
All right, fantastic. Captain Overstreet, thank you so much for bringing these fine gentlemen and this message to our audience today.
Absolutely. This is something that can not only help Sergeant Jenkins, but so many others out there.
Absolutely. Sergeant Jenkins, Sergeant Gomez, thank you so much. We appreciate
Thank
you
you.
so very, very much. Captain, always good to see you.
Take care, guys.
All right, folks.